Good evening, everyone. I am Vivek Nishad, and it is my privilege to extend a warm welcome on behalf of our NGO, Girls in Humdard Trust. We are deeply privileged to have with us our esteemed chief guest, IRS Samir Wankhede sir, today here. I request you to give a huge round of applause for sir. To start with, firstly, I would request our dignitaries to do the honors of a Deepa Prajwalan. Our senior Advocate Prakash Sarsinghikar sir. Advocate Prakash Sarsinghikar sir is highly accomplished criminal lawyer based in Mumbai with over 18 years of experience. He is a trial lawyer and conducted cross-examinations of thousands of witnesses since 2006. He has made significant contributions to the legal field, particularly in cases involving women and children. His expertise extends to high-profile cases like the Shaktiville rape case, Annabhav Sati Corporation scam, fake PRP case, Best Bakery case, Malwani liquor scandal case, the Davolkar murder case, and Adnan Patrawala murder case. He has also served as an additional public prosecutor for the Union of India and a special public prosecutor for the state of Maharashtra in economic offense wing and MPID cases. His dedication to justice is evident through his work with organization Dard Se Humdard Trust, where he provides free legal aid to the prisoners and especially people of marginalized society. Additionally, his involvement in guiding the production team of the Hindi movie Pink and presenting a paper before the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the marriageable age of girls showcases his multifaceted contribution to the society. He has been a stalwart in writing various articles for prominent newspaper on the ongoing issues and legal field. He is the Maharashtra State President of the organization Dard Se Humdard Trust. Friends, the most iconic, the legal aid on wheels, it is the brainchild of his thoughts. The first of such kind of project in India. This project, the initiative Legal Aid on Wheels, provides free legal help by reaching the community, helping the community. After this, he didn't stop here. Identifying the social responsibility towards the Indian culture, he has raised his voices against various movies, dramas, web series, and advertisements showing our tradition and culture in a wrong way. Sir is currently appointed as Maharashtra government on an important committee by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Finally, he has been appointed as a special public prosecutor for the state CID in a custodial death case of Aurangabad. Friends, this is basically just a small and brief introduction of Advocate Prakash Sarsinghikar sir. I request just to give a huge round of applause for him for his milestone career of 18 years. Moving ahead, to welcome and felicitate our chief guest, I would request Advocate Prakash sir of our NGO kindly to felicitate Samir sir.
Thank you, Prakash.
His popularity is quite visible by the number of attendees to this program.
Thank you, Prakash.
We had to stop the registration link and we made sure that a YouTube live, a link is provided to everyone so that such an enlightening session could not be missed by anyone.
Thank you.
Similarly, I would request Sunita Sarsinghikar ma'am to welcome and felicitate Chandrakant Bhutale sir. Bhutale sir is the representative of Baha'i community. Friends, The Baha'i Center we have gathered today for this lecture is run by the Baha'i community. A huge round of applause for them also. The community is a perfect example of doing great deeds, and also they have become our helping hand and also taken a great initiative for social causes, and they have been helping us to organize such an insightful sessions. I would now invite our volunteer and advocate Anil Yadav sir to inform us about the work and few achievements of our NGO Dard Se Humdard Tak Trust.
थैंक यू विवेक सर और थैंक यू श्री चिंतनकर सर मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी देने के लिए कि मैं दर्द से हमदर्द तक जैसी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को यहाँ पर जो आज लॉ के स्टूडेंट्स आए हुए हैं, एडवोकेट्स आए हुए हैं, उनके समक्ष उसकी जानकारी रख सकूं। मैं एडवोकेट प्रकाश जी सालशिकीकर सर जो मेरे मेंटर है और यहाँ पर ऐसे बहुत सारे 75 वॉलंटियर्स दर्द से हमदर्द तक के हैं जिन्होंने उनके मेंटरशिप में दर्द से हमदर्द तक के माध्यम से ट्रेनिंग ली है और लॉ के फील्ड में एक अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं। साथ ही साथ सोसाइटी को दर्द से हमदर्द तक के माध्यम से कुछ ना कुछ रिटर्न दे रहे हैं। तो सबसे पहले जोरदार तालियां हमारे मेंटर के लिए और दर्द से हमदर्द तक। दर्द से हमदर्द तक दर्द से हमदर्द तक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है, जो एनजीओ है, उसको क्यों फॉर्म किया गया, उसके पीछे का मोटिव क्या था। 3 जो सीनियर एडवोकेट थे जो कह सकते हैं कि एडवोकेसी के फील्ड में बहुत अच्छा कार्य कर रहे थे, बट उन्हें दिन ब दिन कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी मुसीबतें आती थी, ऐसी चीजें वो देखते थे कि इस फील्ड में बहुत से ऐसे फील्ड में काम करने के दौरान उन्हें बहुत से ऐसे एक्सपीरियंस है कि ऐसे बहुत ही गरीब लोग हैं जो एक एडवोकेट को एंगेज नहीं कर सकते हैं कि उनके केस पे वो कार्य कर सके। तो उस टाइम पे हमारे एडवोकेट प्रकाश जी सालशिकीकर जो प्रेसिडेंट भी हैं, फाउंडर भी हैं इसके, उन्होंने सुनीता खंडाले सालशिकीकर मैम ने और एडवोकेट रविंद्र लोखंडे सर ने इस एनजीओ का जो स्थापना था वो किया। और किस मोटिव के साथ किया कि जो जेल में बंद कैदी है, जो बहुत ही गरीब है, जो छोटे छोटे क्राइम में जिन्हें पकड़कर बंद कर दिया गया है और जो किसी एडवोकेट को एंगेज नहीं कर पा रहे खुद की मदद करने के लिए, उनकी मदद करना इसके पीछे का एक मोटिव था कि हम इन सभी को मदद करेंगे और इनको बाहर लेके आएंगे, इनको रिफॉर्म कर सकेंगे, ये फिर से अपनी जिंदगी को जी सकेंगे। ऐसा एक मोटिव लेके इसकी स्थापना की। दोस्तों, दर्द से हमदर्द तक की स्थापना पिछले 2 वर्षों पहले हुई थी। 2 वर्ष स्थापना के दौरान दर्द से हमदर्द तक ने 650 से ज्यादा लोगों को जेल से बाहर लेके आई है और इसमें बहुत से ऐसे लोग थे जो फुटपाथ पर सोने वाले लोग थे। यहाँ पर हमारे बीच में हमारे एक वॉलंटियर है गणेश जी नागरभोजे साहब, उन्होंने एक व्यक्ति था जो फुटपाथ पर रहता था, उसके पास रहने के लिए घर नहीं था, उसको पकड़कर पुलिस वालों ने एक ऐसे गुनाह में अंदर कर दिया जिस गुनाह से उसका कोई लेना देना नहीं था। अंदर करने की वजह मात्र इतनी थी कि वह फुटपाथ पे रहता है, उसके पीछे कोई परिवार नहीं है या उसकी मदद करने वाला कोई नहीं था। उसका ट्रायल इन्होंने चलाया और उसको बाइज्जत इस ट्रायल को चलाकर बरी किया और दिखाया कि किस तरीके से कोर्ट के सामने ये सारी चीजें रखी कि किस तरह से इस व्यक्ति को फंसा कर जेल में डाल दिया गया था। इसी के साथ साथ हमारे एक एडवोकेट है ओमकार पाटिल साहब जो आज बिजी थे, दर्द से हमदर्द तक के काम में थे। हमारी सबसे सभी यहाँ पर जो वॉलंटियर है उनकी पहली प्रायोरिटी होती है कि दर्द से हमदर्द तक का यदि कोई काम है तो उसको करके ही हमें कहीं और जाना है। तो वैसे ही वो एक काम में है। एक ऐसा व्यक्ति था जो 1990 के लगभग में कोई एक क्राइम हुआ जिसकी वजह से उसको पॉक्सो केस में उसके नाम पे गुनाह रजिस्टर हुआ। पुलिस ने बताया कि वह गुनाह जो है अभी खत्म हो चुका है, आप इसमें आपको अरेस्ट करने की जरूरत है, उसको छोड़ देते हैं। क्यों छोड़ देते हैं? क्योंकि वो माइनर रहता है। फिर क्या करते हैं, सडनली कोविड के दौरान उसको अरेस्ट कर लेते हैं। अरेस्ट करने के बाद में उसका लाइफ जो है वो अच्छी तरीके से चलते रहता है, पूरी फैमिली उसकी खराब हो जाती है। एक बच्चा रहता है जो नशे की लत में पड़ जाता है क्योंकि कोई पिताजी नहीं थे, देखने वाला कोई नहीं था, उसको गाइड करने वाला कोई नहीं था। तो ये सब चीजों को जब वो सुनता है, उसके घर वाले उसकी मुलाकात लेने आते हैं तो वो परेशान होता है और एक दिन वो क्या करता है कि जेल के अंदर ही ट्यूबलाइट रहती है उसको फोड़ के उसको खाकर सुसाइड करने का प्रयत्न करते हैं। तो जेल के सुपरिटेंडेंट साहब को जब ये बात पता चलती है तो उन्हें मालूम पड़ता है कि एक ही संस्था है जो इनकी त्वरित मदद कर सकती है, तो वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है दर से हमदर्द। और हमारे जो वॉलंटियर थे सर को उन्होंने ईमेल किया, कांटेक्ट किया, सर के माध्यम से ओंकार जी को कांटेक्ट किया और उसका उन्होंने त्वरित काम किया और वो उनके गांव जाकर उनका सारा जो डॉक्यूमेंट था, जो कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट था, वहां से निकाल के लाया और इस तरह से उनकी मदद की और उनको उनके परिवार से मिलाया और अभी वो अच्छे से अपने परिवार के साथ है। ऐसे ही हमारे जो इस प्रोग्राम के कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं श्री चिंदेरकर जी, जिन्होंने इतना अच्छा आयोजन किया जिसमें आप सभी आज यहाँ पर बैठकर श्री समीर सर को सुनने के लिए यहाँ पर आए हुए हैं। उनको 2 महीना सिर्फ हुआ था सनद लेकर और उनको पॉक्सो केस में एक जो आरोपी था जिसको जेल के अंदर डाल दिया गया था, सिर्फ 2 महीने की सनद आई हुई थी। इनको पता चलता है कि वो ये कोकण से आते हैं, ये हमारे गांव साइड का, ये बेचारा इसको झूठे गुनाह में फंसा दिया गया है और ये कई सालों से अंदर है। उसकी वाइफ यहाँ वहां भटक रही है। उन्होंने काफी अपने गहने वगैरह बेचकर वकीलों को पैसे दिए कि किसी तरह मेरा जो हस्बैंड है वो बाहर आ जाए और अपना जो हमारी जो लाइफ है वो वापस से पटरी पे आ जाए। हमारे श्री सर ने तुरंत मदद किया और देखिए कि हमारे दर से हमदर्द तक में आने वाले नए वकील को किस तरीके से ट्रेन किया जाता है कि उन्होंने 2 महीने के अंदर सनद आने के बावजूद भी इफेक्टिवली ट्रायल को चलाया और उस व्यक्ति को बाहर लाया। उसकी छोटी बच्ची थी, मेरे ख्याल में 2 या 3 साल की बच्ची थी, जिसका स्कूल शुरू होने वाला था और उसको पैसे भरने के लिए भी वाइफ के पास पैसा नहीं था, तो वो किसी एडवोकेट कैसे एंगेज करते। ऐसा किया। यहाँ पर जो हमारे एंकर थे एडवोकेट विवेक निषाद जी, उनकी सनद को आकर 1 हफ्ता हुआ था और उन्हें एक जेल में इन्होंने विजिट किया। जेल में विजिट करने के दौरान उनको पता चला कि एक व्यक्ति है जिसे एक झूठे मर्डर के केस में फंसा दिया गया है। यहाँ पर बहुत सारे लोग, बहुत से जूनियर एडवोकेट्स बैठे हैं और मेरे भी बहुत से क्लासमेट्स हैं। बोलते हैं आप, मैं जब जाता हूँ उनसे बताता हूँ कि अरे मैंने तो 2 महीने में जब मेरी सनद आई थी तो मैंने मर्डर केस में जो है बेल के लिए आर्ग्यूमेंट किया है, मैंने ट्रायल चलाया मर्डर केस में, रेप केस में ट्रायल चलाया जिसमें बहुत सारे लोगों को झूठे केस में फंसाया गया रहता है। तो वो कहते थे कि ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता है, लेकिन हमारे पास में यहाँ पर विवेक जी निषाद है जो हमारे एंकर है, इन्होंने विदिन अ वीक, इनका जैसे ही सनद आया इन्होंने 1 वीक के अंदर पॉक्सो में आर्ग्यूमेंट करके एक व्यक्ति का बेल लिया। तो हमारे यहाँ पे ऐसा है कि दर से हमदर्द तक नए जो एडवोकेट है उनको भी सीखने का पूरा मौका देती है। हमारे रवि रंजन सिंह जी हैं, उनको भी हमारे एनजीओ ने ऐसा मौका दिया कि वो एक प्रोफेसर थे कॉलेज में और उस फील्ड से आने के बाद में उन्हें बहुत ये था कि मैं किस तरीके से अपनी लाइफ को शुरू करता हूँ एडवोकेसी के फील्ड में। लेकिन दर से हमदर्द तक में आने के बाद में उन्होंने अभी कई सारी केसेस में पॉक्सो, रेप, मर्डर, एनडीपीएस एक्ट जिसके ऊपर सर का लेक्चर है, उसमें भी बहुत सारे ऐसी केसेस है जिसमें बेल हुई है। मैं जब इस एनजीओ में ज्वाइन हुआ तो मैं एक सिविल कॉन्ट्रैक्टर था और मैं सिविल कॉन्ट्रैक्टर के तौर पे काम करता था। तो मैं फर्स्ट जनरेशन लॉयर था, मेरे पूरे फैमिली में कोई भी ऐसा नहीं था जिन्होंने एडवोकेसी के फील्ड में कोई भी काम किया था। मेरे लिए फर्स्ट स्टेप रखना ही बहुत मुश्किल था। उसके बाद में मैं जैसे ही सर से मिला, दर से हमदर्द तक एनजीओ के बारे में पता चला, मैं इसमें आता हूँ, मेरी लाइफ बिल्कुल चेंज हो गई, मैं कह सकता हूँ। इसलिए मैं सभी से कहूंगा जिसको जब भी मौका मिलता है दर से हमदर्द तक को ज्वाइन करिए। 2 साल में 650 लोगों को छुड़वाने के, बाहर लाने के बाद में भी हमारे जैसा विवेक जी ने बताया कि सर के दिमाग में चल रहा था कि बहुत से ऐसे लोग हैं जो अभी भी सोशल मीडिया से कहीं दूर है, जिनको ऑनलाइन कैसे चीजों को किया जाता है वो पता नहीं है। तो इन्होंने अभी एक और चीज निकाली कि हम और इफेक्टिवली कैसे लोगों की मदद कर सकते हैं। उसके लिए अभी क्या किया, तो मोबाइल लीगल एड क्लिनिक खोला। अभी ये जो मोबाइल, इसमें बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो कभी अपने सीनियर के कहने पे थाने, जेल, ऑर्थर रोड जाते रहेंगे तो उन्होंने देखा रहेगा कि मोबाइल लीगल एड क्लिनिक्स है। तो ये मोबाइल लीगल एड क्लिनिक में हम क्या करते हैं, जो फैमिली मेंबर्स मिलने के लिए आए रहते हैं जेल के बाहर, जिनके मुलाकात लेते हैं, फिजिकल मुलाकात, तो उनको हम क्या करते हैं, उनको कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है तो उनको हम गाइड करते हैं, उनके केस से रिलेटेड अभी क्या स्टेज है केस का। फिर वो घर बैठे, अगर कोई ऐसे भी है जो दूसरे राज्यों से आते हैं लोगों को मिलने के लिए, तो हमारे जो वॉलंटियर रहते हैं वो वहां पे बैठते हैं, उनको बताते हैं कि आप कैसे ऑनलाइन मुलाकात ले सकते हैं अपने राज्य में रह के, अपने घर पर बैठे हुए भी। तो इस तरीके के बहुत सारे मोबाइल लीगल एड क्लिनिक हमारे एनजीओ ने चलाए हुए हैं और आगे भी ऐसे बहुत सारे अलग अलग जेल के सामने हम चला रहे हैं। हमारे जो 75 वॉलंटियर का जिक्र किया मैंने, वो महाराष्ट्र के बहुत से ऐसे जेल से जिसमें विजिट करते हैं, और महाराष्ट्र में जैसे पुणे में वो काम कर रहे हैं, अकोला में काम कर रहे हैं, थाने में काम कर रहे हैं, वैसे ही ऐसी कोई जेल नहीं जहाँ विजिट नहीं कर रहे फिलहाल मुंबई के अंदर। और महाराष्ट्र के सेवरल अदर जेल हैं जहाँ पे हमारे वॉलंटियर्स विजिट करते हैं और लोगों को फ्री लीगल एड प्रोवाइड करते हैं। अभी एनजीओ जब इसके 3rd ईयर में स्टेप कर रही है, तो सर
टाइम हो रहा है।
सर ने एक न्यू जो इनिशिएटिव था वो लॉन्च किया, लीगल एड ऑन व्हील्स। उसके वकील तुमचंद आ रहे हैं। सो अभी इसमें क्या करने वाले हैं कि हम ऐसे स्लम इलाके जो है, स्लम इलाके में जाकर जो वहां पर जो इंडिजिट लोग हैं, जो खुद अपनी मदद नहीं कर सकते या अपने किसी जेल में बंद व्यक्ति के लिए एडवोकेट एंगेज नहीं कर सकते, तो उनके पास जाकर हम मदद करने वाले हैं। अभी बीच में बहुत सारे लोगों ने पढ़ा रहेगा कि हमारी जो लेडी फाउंडर है एडवोकेट सुनीता सालिसी की करना, उनके पास में एक बुजुर्ग व्यक्ति का फोन आता है कि मेरे सोसाइटी के लोग मुझे परेशान कर रहे हैं और मेरे ऊपर लगभग 20-25 लाख रुपया सोसाइटी ने या कुछ समथिंग एक अमाउंट था जो इंटरेस्ट वगैरह बढ़ा के बहुत ज्यादा कर दिया और मुझे जबरदस्ती करते आपको भरना पड़ेगा। हमारे वॉलंटियर के साथ मैम वहां जाती है, सोसाइटी को नोटिस भेजा जाता है और सोसाइटी तुरंत उनका जो अमाउंट जो बढ़ाया हुआ था, जो उन्होंने एक्स्ट्रा लगा के रखा हुआ था, तुरंत कम करते हैं। और ऐसे बहुत सारे जो काम है, मैं अगर बोलने जाऊंगा तो पूरा दिन चले जाएगा, लेकिन आज लोग यहाँ पर हमारे समीर वानखेड़े सर, श्री समीर वानखेड़े सर को सुनने के लिए जमा हुए, तो मैं एडवोकेट विवेक निषाद जी से ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप इस कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाएं। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Anirudh sir, for such a detailed information. Now, friends, I would request Chandrakant Butale sir, who has been the representative of Baha'i community, to share the work and about the Baha'i community, what kind of work they do, and let us know what is actually Baha'i community.
नमस्कार। बहाई केंद्र में आप सभी का स्वागत है। और मुझे बताया गया है कि काफ़ी सारे लोगों को बहाई जो शब्द है ये क्या है इसके बारे में जानकारी है। तो बहाई जो है एक इंडिपेंडेंट रिलीजन है, और चूंकि आप न्याय जस्टिस के बारे में ज़्यादा लगे हुए, तो ये एक कोटेशन है बहाउल्लाह का, जो बहाई धर्म के संस्थापक है। वो कहते हैं कि मेरी दृष्टि में, मतलब परमेश्वर की दृष्टि में, समस्त वस्तुओं में सर्वाधिक प्रिय न्याय है। वस्तुतः न्याय तेरे लिए मेरा उपहार है और मेरी प्रेममय दयालुता का प्रतीक है। अतः इसे अपने नेत्रों के सम्मुख धारण कर। मेरे ख्याल से ये जो कोटेशन है ये इतना आपके ऊपर होता है क्योंकि आपने न्याय जो है ना अपनी जिंदगी में ला दिया है किसी को देने के लिए। तो ये एक मुझे अच्छा लगा कि शुरुआत मैं इस कोटेशन से करूँ। बहाई धर्म जो है उसकी शुरुआत 1844 में हुई थी। एक युवक थे 24 साल के, जिनका नाम दबाब कहा गया था ईरान में। और जब उन्होंने घोषणा की कि ये इस युग के लिए अवतार है, और उन्होंने ऐसी चीज़ों का धारण किया जो तत्व बताए, वो इतने रिवॉल्यूशनरी थे कि ईरान के राजा और उनके जो पूरे पुरोहित जो भी है, मुल्ला वगैरह, तो उनकी सीट जो है वो बिल्कुल हिल गई। और उनको इतना डर लगा कि जब वे 30 साल के थे बाप 1850 में, उनको मृत्युदंड दिया गया। और जो रूलर्स थे इतने डरे हुए थे कि उनको मारने के लिए जो कैदी थे, जो उनको बांध दिया गया था, उन्होंने 7 से 750 सोल्जर्स की टोली लेके आए, 750 गन्स। तो जब भी अच्छी बात एक ईश्वरीय अवतार लाते हैं, उसको अपोजिशन कितना होता है और किन लोगों से होता है, इसका ये है, ये एक उदाहरण है। और बहुत सारी चीजें मैं को बाद में बताऊंगा, हिस्ट्री में इतना नहीं हुआ। उसके बाद में जो दूसरे अवतार आए थे उनका नाम है बहाउल्लाह, जो 1863 में उन्होंने घोषणा की। वे शाह के वजीर के लड़के थे, तो उन्होंने वो पोजीशन नहीं संभाली, तो उनको भी पूरा अपोजिशन हुआ। तो 1863 से उनको अलग अलग जगह हद्दपार किया गया, और आखिरी में आक्का करके एक शहर है जो उस समय ऑटोमन कॉलोनी था, आज इजराइल में है। तो वहाँ उनका स्वर्गारोहण हुआ, और बहाई धर्म की जो इंटरनेशनल बॉडी है वो इजराइल में है, हैफा शहर में। तो ये एक बहाई धर्म के मूल तत्व है, जो आप देखेंगे कि अगर 1850 में इसको पढ़ेंगे तो कितने रिवॉल्यूशनरी होते हैं, कि जो सभी धर्म, उनके अवतार और उनके क्रिएटर एक है। तो हम बहाई किसी भी धर्म में या किसी बेस में कोई भी प्रेजुडिस नहीं रखते हैं। दूसरी है सत्य की स्वतंत्रता से खोज। बहाई धर्म में कोई पुरोहित वर्ग नहीं है, कोई लीडर नहीं है, कोई रिलीजियस मुल्ला मौलवी नहीं है। और हम ये मतलब बहाई धर्म जो मान्यता ये है कि आज हम ऐसे जग में जी रहे हैं जिसमें हमारे पास में एक्सेस है हर चीज का। हम खुद पढ़ के वो सही है या गलत ये सोच सकते हैं। तो हमें किसी ने बताने की जरूरत नहीं है कि हमारी जिंदगी हमने ऐसे ही जीनी है, हम खुद सोच सकते हैं। सभी प्रकार के जो अंधविश्वास है वो मानते नहीं है हम लोग। और जो धर्म है और विज्ञान जो आजकल कन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा है, हम सोचते हैं कि धर्म विज्ञान के बिना अंधविश्वास और अंधश्रद्धा है, और विज्ञान धर्म के बिना, क्योंकि धार्मिक जो मान्यता होती है अच्छाई के लिए होती है, वो एक डिस्ट्रक्टिव पावर हो जाएगा। और काफी सारे और है, स्त्री पुरुष को समान अवसर देना, समानता नहीं, समान अवसर देना। मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देता हूँ, आप थोड़ा सा इमेजिन कीजिए क्या कि एक 2 फुट का है, 3 व्यक्ति है, एक 2 फुट का, एक 4 फुट का, एक 6 फुट का है। अब उन लोग मैच देखना चाहते हैं, लेकिन आगे में तो है पूरी ब्रिक वॉल। अब सबको अगर 2-2 फुट का स्टूल दे दी जाए, समानता तो हो गई, लेकिन समान अवसर नहीं हो गया, है ना। 2 फुट वाला नहीं देख पाएगा 4 फुट वाला थोड़ा सा ऐसा करके 6 फुट वाले को पूरी तरह से, तो समान अवसर देना, तो वो अवसर जो आप देते हैं उसके सिचुएशन के अनुसार देते हैं। और बाद में ये भी कि शिक्षा, एजुकेशन, ये हमारे लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कार्य है। तो और बहाई धर्म में पवित्र इसमें यह कहा गया है कि मनुष्य को बहुमूल्य रत्नों की खान समझो, केवल शिक्षा ही इसके कोशों को उजागर कर सकती है। तो हमारे लिए एजुकेशन, चाहे वो एकेडमिक हो या नैतिक हो, ये दोनों बहुत जरूरी है। प्रोग्राम्स हमारे आजकल जो हम लोग जिस पे ज़्यादा ये पूरे दुनिया में चलता है, एक ही करिकुलम होता है। एक होता है छोटे बच्चों की क्लासेस 6 to 11, वहाँ पे उनको हम लोग उनके गुणों के बारे में क्या होता है, साथ ही साथ अगर वो थोड़े बढ़ते हैं तो सभी धर्मों के बारे में भी बताते हैं, ताकि उन लोगों में भेदभाव वो जो आज होता है वो ना हो। दूसरा है एक ग्रुप जिसको हम लोग 11 से 15, उनको हम लोग जूनियर यूथ कहते हैं या युवा किशोर। वो हम लोगों ने स्टडी किया है, जो रियलिटी स्टडी बोलते हैं हम लोग पूरे दुनिया में, कि ये एक ग्रुप है जो सबसे डिसएडवांस्ड ग्रुप है। ये ना बच्चे होते हैं ना बड़े होते हैं, ना पेरेंट्स इनको समझ सकते हैं ना वो पेरेंट्स को समझ सकते हैं कि आज के दुनिया में इतनी फास्ट मूविंग है हमारी दुनिया। 87 में मैंने जब पहली बार कंप्यूटर पे काम किया था, 5 MB का कंप्यूटर था। उसके बाद में 88 में 20 MB का कंप्यूटर हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा था। फिर हमने 40 MB की तरफ चले गए। अब आप सोचो 5 MB 87 और आज 5 MB में कुछ भी नहीं। ये फास्ट मूविंग में इनको पता ही नहीं चल रहा है कि हम लोग क्या करें, पेरेंट्स को भी नहीं। तो उनके लिए भी एक ऐसा करिकुलम दिया है ताकि वे अलग अलग जगह में इंटरेस्ट हो जाए, ताकि वे एक साथ आ जाए। एम्पावरमेंट प्रोग्राम हम उसको कहते हैं। दैट इज रियली ऑल। और इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे यूनाइटेड नेशंस से लेके इवन ग्रास रूट तक, इवन स्मॉल नेबरहुड जिसको बोलते हैं गाँव की गली, हम वहाँ पे उनकी ज़रूरत के अनुसार काम करते हैं, क्योंकि हर एक की अपनी रियलिटी अलग होती है। तो ये है हमारे कार्य। तो हम बहाई होने के नाते जो भी विभिन्न कार्य होते हैं जो मानव जाति को मदद करते हैं, उसके लिए सहायता करने में हम लोग आगे रहते हैं। और आपका जो कार्य है बहुत ही प्रशंसनीय है। इतना मतलब सोच सकेंगे कि हम एक दिन मैं बैठने वाला उनके साथ में बोलूँगा कि पूरी हिस्ट्री दो मुझे, आप कैसे कर रहे हो आप, क्योंकि आसान नहीं है। और इसीलिए बहाई समुदाय जो है वो आपके कार्य में पूरा समर्थन देता है। आपको जब भी जरूरत पड़े, जितना भी हम कर सकते हैं, हम यहाँ करने के लिए तैयार हैं। और लास्ट सेंटेंस जिसमें मैं समाप्त कर रहा हूँ, हम मानते हैं कि संपूर्ण पृथ्वी एक देश है और समस्त मानव जाति है इसके नागरिक। थैंक यू।
Thank you so much, sir. Hereafter, I would request our volunteer, Advocate Shobha Chettiar, to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Samir Wankhede sir, for whom we are eagerly waiting for hearing.
Thank you, Vivek. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow advocates, and my dear volunteers, it is my distinct honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Samir D. Wankhede, who currently serves as the Additional Commissioner at the Directorate General of Taxpayer Services, Chennai Zonal Unit. With an illustrious career spanning some of India's most pivotal law enforcement agencies, including Intelligence Bureau, National Investigation Agency, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence, and Narcotics Control Bureau, Mr. Wankhede exemplifies exceptional leadership, strategic insight, and unwavering commitment to national security. Over the years, Mr. Wankhede has been at the forefront of several landmark cases. He provided extremely valuable intelligence in connection with the Islamic Research Foundation during the Dr. Zakir Naik case, and his investigative acumen shown through in collecting critical information on the Dawood Ibrahim gang and preparing an extensive dossier on Dawood Ibrahim Kaskar. In 2015, his professional handling of Bijnor bomb blast case further cemented his reputation for tactical excellence. He has been instrumental in the arrest of COPSA, that is, Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act, wanted accused in a joint operation with the Marine Prevention Team. Notably, on 13 July 2018, Mr. Wankhede led the groundbreaking seizure of 400 kilograms of khat leaves from the APSO office in Mumbai, misdeclared as green tea and smuggled through postal services from Ethiopia, valued at rupees 8.13 crores, marking the first seizure of khat leaves after the imposition of the ban in India. His stewardship also includes the detection and seizure of imported dry dates from Pakistan, uncovered through the meticulous investigation following the Pulwama attack, as well as gathering valuable intelligence on an upstanding accused in an ISIS case. Complementing these achievements, Mr. Wankhede has enhanced his operational expertise by undergoing specialized training as a sharpshooter and a sniper under the U.S. Department of State's Anti-Terrorist Assistance Program in North Carolina in 2016. His exceptional contributions have been recognized with numerous accolades, including the Director General of Police, NIA Silver Medal Role in 2016, Commendation for Countering Fake Indian Currency Notes, a commendation certificate from the Chairman of the Central Board of Excise and Customs in 2013, the Director General's Desk from the Director of Revenue Intelligence 2019, the Union Home Minister's Medal for Excellence in Investigation and Maharashtra Samman in 2021, and both the Samman and Salam Award and the Bharat Ratna Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Award in 2022. Please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Sameer D. Wankhede, a distinguished officer whose relentless pursuit of excellence and innovative approach continues to fortify our nation's security and inspire future generations. Thank you.
Before we begin to listen him, I would request Asha. Have said PPT कौन सा चला?
PPT, it will be easy for me.
PPTs, which one is that?
3 PPTs I have sent. So initially, we'll start with the drug scenario in Mumbai. This is 14-15 slide one. So initially start. No, not at all.
To the audience, we are going to run a PPT. If
We have the
it is
pointer.
not visible
We
from
have the
this
pointer,
side,
we don't have
there
the
are
pointer.
empty chairs backside.
So then I have
You
to
can cover
instruct you,
those
then you have
chairs.
to change, right? That's a tough
If
job.
it is not visible to the people sitting on the left side, the stage is yours, sir.
Respected Prakash ji, respected Sunita madam, and my friends, Vande Mataram to you. I think so. We have not had our evening snacks properly, so response is coming very less. Vande Mataram. That's good. I want to hear that. So when Prakash ji told me, English is fine for everybody, right? When Prakash ji told me, I have to interact with the youngsters and the law students, so I was very excited. Basically, generally my, in my free time, that is Saturdays and Sundays, so I run a Nasha Mukti sessions basically. So when he told me students are there, so I was very excited, especially law students. And I wanted to interact with lot many people because every time I'm on the other side of the fence where you're not there, you're always on the opposite side. So to interact with you and share a little bit, what technical issues we have, what are the issues regarding drugs, so it would be very interesting. And before starting my lecture, I would really like to thank my PP, Geeta Nair madam. Madam, can you please show everybody a hand? Geeta Nair madam. You can just come here for 2 minutes and you can go back. So thanks to Geeta Nair madam. Just in 10 seconds, I mean, Geeta Nair ji, she is on the panel of the central government, and one of the best PPs what I've seen in my career of 19 years of service. So I would like to thank her also, because when I interact with students, you need to be very well versed with the latest Supreme Court judgments. So she was the person, she is an encyclopedia in all the judgments. So she provided me briefly, ke, sir, if you want to talk with students, tell them this, tell them that. So she was my guide, and she's presently holding, important cases. She's representing the NCB, she's representing the DRI and other central agencies. So madam, thank you very much for providing me all the help and material. Thank you. So starting with the, NDPS, we all know what NDPS is. NDPS Act also, we know it's one of the most stringent, most technical act anyone can go through and practice. In today's time, if the country is having two issues basically. One is terrorism. Fortunately, under the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister, things are very much controlled as far as the terrorist front is concerned. The other issue what we are facing is the narcotics thing. We all know, and when terrorism and narcotics, it comes together. So there is a very unholy connotation called as narco-terrorism. So it's a very dangerous thing basically for the country. And today, if we don't talk about these kind of issues like narcotics and narco-terrorism, in 10 years, the things will be out of hand for us. So we need to stop it right now for all citizens, as a law-abiding citizens, as an implementer of law, as a practitioner of law, basically. So for that, we need to understand what exactly is going around. We seen movies, we seen shows, discussions, drugs, YEVA and all those things. But what exactly is drugs? We need to know. And what Mumbai and Maharashtra, what we are facing basically. So we can start that. So briefly, I'll just, I have divided my presentation into 3 parts. So one will be the present scenario. The second portion will be the NDPS Act. And the third part will be the recent Supreme Court judgments. I mean, which are, I'll just fly by that because that is a very technical one. But you need to know being a law student. So the first part will be regarding the drug issue, what exactly it is. So we'll discuss here the recent trends, area of concerns, key operatives I won't discuss with you because that is confidential. Strategy and steps, yes, we can talk. Next, please. So what exactly is going on now in Maharashtra? So number one is resurgence of ganja and hashish consumption. See, earlier, what used to happen, earlier, before a decade or something, we only used to hear about charas and ganja. When you talk about drugs, we just hear about ganja and charas. But nowadays, what happened in last, a decade or 2 decades, not many synthetic drugs like mephedrone, methamphetamine, methaqualone, LSD, these kind of drugs came in the market, from US, from Mexico, from other American countries. And unfortunately, they started landing up in the country. But now what we see again is resurgent of charas and ganja. Ganja means not deshi ganja, but ganja means hydroponic weed. If you all hear about, that is a rich man's drug basically. It is a very expensive drug. I mean, 1 gram might be costing say about 8 to 5,000 rupees. So it's a very high-end kind of a party drug. So my duration in NCB in DRI, what we had seen was a lot of hydroponic weed is being caught. Now also, if you read the newspapers, you pick up any newspapers, in every alternate day you hear about hydroponic weed is caught across the airport because weed has been legalized in some American states, Thailand, Northern American states and some countries in the European Union. So owing to that, lot many hydroponic weed is coming to the country, declared as green tea and all those things here. So that is one thing. And especially, there are some few people who are out of ignorance, some consumer of drug in some certain class of society where they think consuming natural drugs is very healthy. That is a very misconception basically in the mind. Drug is drug basically. It is a foreign subject. So they have a notion कि हम अगर drugs ये प्रकार के पिएंगे तो dieting में help हो जाएगी. And it is, it is not synthetic, but it's all nonsense. Drug is drug. It is harmful to the body. And finally, it is illegal. So stay away from that. The second trend is basically rampant consumption of mephedrone in Mumbai and Pune. So now what we see is youngsters, college and school goers. For us, for law enforcement, as a normal citizen, for me, a concern if anybody asks me regarding drug is MD. MD is called as mephedrone, Mio, white cat, white china, powder, whatever it is called. So nowadays MD is basically called as poor man's cocaine. It's very cheap. So a college guy, a school person having pocket money, taking pocket money from their parents can afford this basically. And it's such a dirty drug, it's all synthetic. It's such a dirty drug. I mean, if you have that, completely 3 days, you will be off the radar. You don't know what is happening. You'll have blisters in your mouth. You'll have neurological issues. You'll have rashes on your body. You will virtually, have when we interact with people, with youngsters who are caught doing this, suppliers caught doing this. So they tell it's a scourge basically. Anybody having MD for, consumption. And it is nefariously linked with sex trade also. So this is the issue what we are facing, and this is the problem what we have in Mumbai, MD. Excuse me, I'm not well, so you need to tolerate my cough. I'm sorry for that. Then the third point will be the third trend is growing demand in consumption of hydroponic weed, what we discussed in the first point. The fourth one is drug abuse in the high society. So in the high society, I don't want to generalize any kind of industry, and I don't want to generalize. It's a big time problem everywhere, universal, all countries, in slums, in rave parties, in high end, everywhere. It is a universal problem. But now what we are seeing is in high end society, it's going on. It has become a common fact, common trend. If you don't consume, you're not cool. It's like that. If you consume, you're cool. So nomenclatures are being kept for these college kids. Are to drug pita nahi hai, uncle hai kya? These kind of things are happening. So, but consumption of drug is definitely very uncool. It's not happening. The fifth one is trafficking of synthetic drugs through courier. Through courier, a lot of drugs are coming to the country. It is going outside also. And unfortunately, the use of cryptocurrencies are happening. Dark web is being used for getting in drugs, illegally in the country. Then the next one is the trafficking of charas from Jammu and Kashmir via train, road and transport. Usage of cryptocurrency like bitcoins, Ethereum and other kind of currencies, lot many cryptocurrencies are there. So, but this is the, what I believe, traditional law enforcement, traditional law practitioners, generally what we focus on is whenever we catch drugs on the field, monetary payment is there, chain is there, so easily you can implement NDPS Act. Section 5A of the NDPS, Chapter 5A of the NDPS Act, which talks about taking financial action, on the breakers of the NDPS Act. But here it is a challenge. When there is no virtual currency, when there is no virtual property, everything is, somewhere in the cloud, somewhere in the wallets. So it becomes very difficult for the agencies also to track that. But we have done cases. The agencies, many agencies are also doing good job. So this is the new trend, payment through cryptocurrencies and going on dark web and calling drugs. Then the next is sale of narcotics infused eatables. I hope you also don't consume some such kind of cakes. So these cakes are easily available in the market, like brownie cakes, weed cakes, rainbow cakes, which are having charas as well as marijuana or ganja in it. Basically, many things people see on the OTT platforms. The youngsters try to emulate that in their lives, but that is again very bad, uncool. And some factories also, some bakeries we had busted when I was in NCB. So that is one more trend. Next, please. So this we have discussed. Next, please. So this is, the cake form of drugs, which I hope you should stay away. I just got it deliberately so that you stay away from all these things. So the next one is transport. What we see in baggage is generally drugs like cocaine, heroin. It is getting imported in the country illegally. In trucks, what we see is ganja, marijuana, which is coming from places like Andhra Pradesh, some parts of Madhya Pradesh, some parts of Maharashtra, some parts of Gujarat. So here also many, sometimes you find cases of narco-terrorism, Naxals sometimes support these kind of, drug growers and all those things. So during the time of DRI, we had booked many cases of ganja, also 17 tons we had caught, around 17,000 kgs of this. Next, please. This is the, what I told you, hydroponic weed. Hydroponic weed is a new weed, what I told you, which is very expensive. So this weed doesn't require soil to be grown. It requires water basically and a greenhouse kind of a environment basically to be grown. Hydro means water. So this is the equipment of growing a hydroponic weed. So one such factory lab, whatever you call it, we had busted at Palava in Thane. Next, please. So this is heroin. Basically what is happening nowadays, whenever you see newspapers, whenever you see any news, what happens is we hear about catching, big amount of drugs, containers. So that is heroin. Afghanistan is growing opium basically, and after that opium derivatives, heroin is processed and through acetic anhydride, and it is made in heroin format. So it is in huge quantity it is coming to the country. It is also having narco-terrorism connotations. So our efficient Coast Guard, Navy, DRI, police, continuously they are booking cases across the border. On the Arabian Sea, in the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Then after that, trains, Samjhauta Express was there. Lot many cases were booked during there on borders, Indo-Pak border. Lot many cases are being, regarding heroin. Heroin, we are, India is a consumption point also as well as a transit point. So we see a lot of seizures happening across the country. Next, please. This is one factory what we had busted. Surprisingly, in the heart of Mumbai, just stone throw away from the law enforcement agencies' offices. In fact, very near to my ex-office, NCB office, also hardly 2-3 kilometers. Right in the heart, where we had busted them openly. These people were very, they were an organized gang kind of a thing. 12 kgs, we had caught around 12 crores value might be there. And what we see in the movies, such things were happening. Where weapons were caught, 2.5 crore rupees, that was supposedly their daily income basically. So that amount of cash was recovered, money counting things were recovered, and manufacturing things were there. Next, please. This is ganja, what we see next. This is heroin which is coming from the country. It is concealed in the baggage basically. And on this side you see it is being declared as it is being shown trying to pass off as a eatable. Next, please. Next. This is just a mapping what I had done of our city basically, where the area specific drug is concerned. So lot many cases I remember we had booked during the NCB tenure. So I just mapped what exactly drug is going on in which area. So you see Kurla, mephedrone, heroin, ganja. Bandra, Versova, Lokhandwala, we see LSD, MD, cocaine, hydroponic weed. Dongri, Agdipada, Nagpada, Paidoni, MD, codeine based syrup, charas and hashish. Dharavi, codeine, heroin, Mankurd, Shivaji Nagar, Govandi, MD, codeine, ganja, cocaine by Nigerian peddlers. Sahar Pawai, Chandivali area, hub of Nigerians, including in cocaine, meth, and MD trade. Next, please. It was a big one, but I curtailed it so that we can cover the other topics also. So this is a general drug scenario. So now coming to your bread and butter, which is NDPS Act. And Prakashji, I hope when you told, when the volunteer, one of the volunteers gave a presentation, you are helping lot many people to come out. I hope you don't help NDPS people to come out. Innocence, no problem. But these are, really the people whom we should be very strict on. And you might be knowing, many people might be knowing, what happens when, the earlier 302. What is the maximum punishment for that? Anybody can tell me.
Death penalty.
302. Murder.
Death.
So what is the maximum punishment?
Death.
Life imprisonment. Rarest of the rare, death. Rarest of the rare in heinous circumstances. Are you aware, for NDPS Act, there is a section 31A, which we will just glance through it. There is a death penalty for repeat offenders. So, the jurisprudence, the maker of the law, the makers of the constitution, the makers of the law, the implementers, what they thought was that this crime is more heinous than the other crime. For that reason, there is a 31A section which has been inserted, where death penalty is given to the repeat offender. So you understand how serious NDPS Act is. Next, please. I'll just touch in the important points, important sections which you need to deal with, which are having problems in the implementations also, as well as for the courts. Next, please. So maximum punishment up to 3 years imprisonment for repeat offence. No maximum punishment was prescribed. This was earlier one, madam. So we'll just glance through it. Please go forward. Forward, please. Forward, please. Forward. Forward, please. Forward, please. Forward, please. Next, please. Next. Next. So now we are coming to the most important section of the NDPS Act is Section 8. So here, whenever any law enforcement agency books any case, so there is a mother section, which is Section 8 and especially Section 8C. So what is Section 8? So generally Section 8 covers production, manufacture, possession, sale, purchase, transport, warehouse, use, consume, import, interstate export, interstate import in the country, export from India or transship any narcotics, drug or psychotropic substance. So virtually this covers everything, including consumption, sending outside, bringing inside. See, there are, basically lot many laymen, they have a question. What are the kind of drugs which come into the country? I would like to state that you need to know that unfortunately in our country, drugs are coming also and it is going out also. So which are the kind of drugs which are coming in the country which the law enforcement agency regularly books a case on? What I told you is ganja, charas, mephedrone, methamphetamine. Precursors are controlled substance which are used to make drugs. So precursors like ephedrine. So these are the drugs where illegally it is being manufactured, grown in the country. Which are the drugs which are coming from foreign countries? So that is, these drugs are cocaine. Cocaine, we all know it is grown in South America thanks to OTT platforms. They have glamorized such kind of growers in American countries. So one is cocaine. Second is heroin. We discussed that it comes from Afghanistan. Third is LSD. LSD is called as lysergic acid. It comes in form of blots basically, just like stamp papers, which you put on your tongue and after that it dissolves in your saliva. So it comes from Northern American countries, European countries like the Netherlands, Amsterdam and all those places. Poland also. Apart from that, hydroponic weed, again Canada, Thailand and all those places what we discussed. So these drugs come from the outside of the country. There are some drugs which are manufactured here illegally and after that they are sent outside the country. So which are these kind of drugs? Like ketamine, it is an orthopedic drug, we all know ketamine. It is used for animals. So that is included in NDPS. So that is sent illegally across to places like UK and other countries. UK, Malaysia, Southeast Asian and further countries. Second is methamphetamine. As problem we have of cocaine and MD, methamphetamine is very prevalent in countries like Australia, New Zealand and Singapore, Far East countries. So that illegally we sent from the country, making here illegally. Then ephedrine, I told you, precursor which is used to make methamphetamine, that is also sent across to Malaysia, Indonesia and all those places and Far East. So these are the kind of drugs which we send from the country. So for that reason, NDPS Act has a provision punishment for import as well as export also. Next please. So section 8A, prohibition of certain activities relating to property derived from the offence. So this is regarding financial investigation. Once the property of the drug peddlers is being seized, or in order to nip from the bud basically entire gang. So you need to attack the properties, what financial properties they have, land properties they have in material, in cash or kind. Next please. So 8A deals with that. Then section 9 is power of the central government to permit, control and regulate. Basically section 9 deals with the illicit cultivation of drugs. You all might be knowing there are few alkalite factories also in our country which is in the NDPS Act. Like one we have in Neemach, one we have in Mandsaur also. So there, drugs like opium. So these are grown, manufactured in a very controlled manner for medicinal purposes. So section 9 is dealing with those kind of controlled substance. Next please. Next please. Next. 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 So now we come to the important sections which talk about the punishment. So 8 we have seen. Now we talk about the punishment. So punishment starts with section 20. Section 20 talks regarding punishment of any person caught with ganja, cannabis. Does anybody know what is the commercial quantity for ganja?
20 kg.
Very good. Very, very nice. Prakash ji, your people are really good, intelligent. Next, please. Section 21 talks about punishment for contravention in relation to manufacture of drugs and preparation. Section 22 talks about punishment for contravention in related to psychotropic substance. If you see, the Act graded different punishment for small, medium and commercial quantities. See, we all know, now you might all be knowing, NDPS Act basically grades the kind of quantity which has been seized or recovered from the supplier, peddler or consumer. So one is the small quantity. Small means small consumption quantity. Second one is the intermediate quantity. Intermediate means anything from small to the commercial quantity. Middle one, what we call is medium quantity, what we call it as. This most dangerous one is the commercial quantity. So different kind of drugs, they have different threshold basically. So now one intelligent lady, she just told 20 kgs is for ganja, that is for commercial quantity. So intermediate quantity for ganja is 1 kg to 20 kgs. Small quantity is anything between 1 kg. So similarly, if you talk about mephedrone, so mephedrone is having different threshold and different quantity basically. So the small quantity is anything below 2 grams. Intermediate quantity is from 2 grams to 50 grams. And anything above 50 grams is commercial quantity. Same thing is very different with cocaine. Cocaine is 2 grams is anything small, below than 2 grams is commercial small quantity. Intermediate is 2 grams to 100 grams. That is intermediate, and anything above 100 grams is commercial quantity. Similarly, heroin also commercial quantity is 250 grams and above. And if you talk about LSD, LSD is 0.2, anything between above 0.2 grams is 0.01 gram is commercial quantity. 0.01 gram. So that is even if you have 10 blots with you, 10 blots. So that becomes commercial quantity, and you are liable for jail for 20 years. Same thing regarding codeine also. Codeine cough syrup we all know, which is easily available in the market, in the medical stores. If you have a proper prescription, it becomes NRX drugs. If you don't have, it becomes NDPS drug. So if you have anything, in fact, if you have 10 bottles also with you, 100 grams each, so that becomes commercial quantity, and a person is landed up in jail for 20 years. So that is graded punishment what we see, different punishment for small, medium and commercial quantity. So section 23, this is an important section, punishment for illegal import into the country, export from India or transshipment of narcotic drug and psychotropic substance. So here basically what happens is, at the airport whenever DRI, customs, police, anybody makes a seizure, so this section is very much implemented because it is coming from the foreign country. Apart from section 22, section 8, whatever the charges might be. Next please. So now we talk about section 25. So it is a very, not many times what happens is, whenever any person, they casually host a party in the house. The restaurants or the clubs, casually, and without any kind of responsibility, any drug seizure happen, they leave just their hands off basically. It's none of our concern. But the NDPS Act entails section 25, where if a premises is being used for any kind of drug consumption as well as drug related activity, so there is an imprisonment for that and fine. So 1 year of imprisonment and 10,000 fine is anybody who violates section 25. So we have a concept of vicarious liability basically, where you cannot shed off your responsibility. If anybody is caught in your premises consuming drugs, so there the owner of the premises as well as any commercial activity is happening, so he can be responsible for that. So section 25 is very important. Next please. Next please. Here a very important section, you might have being reading about it, section 27. There is a section 27 small a. Small a means consumption. And there is a capital A. Section 27 capital A is financing illicit trafficking. So here anybody financing drug related activities, anybody providing money, you call it GPay, you call it wire, you call it any transfers, cash or anything. So that punishment is a very stringent punishment equivalent to commercial quantity. So section 21A, if anybody is being charged with that, there is a punishment of 20 years and a fine of 2 lakh rupees. So recently also in a very beautiful judgment came in. I remember 2020 Sushant Singh Rajput case was there. So there a very good judgment regarding section 27A was given by Justice Kotwal ji. So it gives exactly what falls under section 27A and what doesn't fall into that. So it's a very good read. I mean, I strongly recommend it. So section 28 is a punishment for attempt to commit an offence. The same as the offence basically. Next. Section 29, you cannot see the heading basically, but section 29 is equivalent to section 120B. Basically, yes. Criminal conspiracy. So here also abetment and conspiracy, you have section 29, you can implement that with the other sections. Next please. Section 32 is a section where no other punishment is prescribed basically. Section 31A, we can't see the heading, but death penalty for certain offences for previous conviction. So conviction for offences involving quantity more than the mentioned in the table given. So there is a very comprehensive table for each and every drug. Next please. Next. 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 Chapter 5. So this is a very important chapter. Lot many judgments are there. Plethora of judgments you can see on chapter 5 basically, where lot many convictions and acquittal happens just because of any laxness or kind of lethargy in implementation of these kind of sections. As a law enforcement a person, it really pains when you are part of the operation. You are the part of the operation and you are an officer who is named in the Panchnama also, spot Panchnama. You catch a person with your hands, carrying drugs, all formalities done. And only for one minute thing, the person is acquitted or let off on bail. So it's really very disheartening for an officer, he has put in all, risking all his life, putting all what he has to catch that kind of person. And especially, non-implementation, or I would like to say, sometimes, human error also happens by some officers. So because of little, slackness, I would like to say on the official's part or oversight, big, acquittals happens and bail are being given to people basically. So these are the sections, section 41, section 42 and section 43 of the NDPS Act. So section 41 entails power to issue warrants and authorization. So basically here in this section, agencies are being given which all officers are empowered to issue authorizations. Agencies like police, DRI, that is revenue, state police, CBN, narcotics. So these are the agencies where officers are empowered to issue authorizations. So now which are the officers who are allowed to issue authorizations? The officers above the rank of superintendents basically. Superintendents means sometimes in states they are group A officers, in central they are gazetted group B officers. So any officer above the rank of the superintendent, he can he is authorized to issue an authorization. Who can implement that? So anybody above the rank of a peon, a constable can implement, a sub-inspector can implement, an inspector can implement, anybody above the peon. So basically these act talk about the proper officers and the officers who are implementing that. Next, please. So what we discuss, any officer superior in rank to peon, sepoy, constable of the Department of the Central Excise, Narcotics, Customs, Revenue Intelligence and any other department of the central government, including paramilitary like BSF, Border Security Force, Seema Sashastra Bal, because a lot of border activities happen. Armed Forces and any such officer of Revenue, Drug Control, Excise Policy, etc. So it should be between sunrise and sunset, we all know. Information and grounds of belief for such seizure and arrest to be sent within 72 hours to the immediate supervisory officer. So the technical points what I talk, whenever any officers misses this out, lot many cases we have seen merely missing out these small formalities, technical formalities are leading to acquittal of the persons. Despite being very hardcore criminals, despite being the biggest enemy of the nation. So every time I speak with my officers, I ask them to implement the law by toto, to go through this, to have a checklist. And you being on the government side, I expect being on the government side, not on the defense for NDPS. But these are the very important acts what we are talking about. Next, please. Then section 43, it is cut off. Basically, it is power of seizure and arrest in public place. Section 44 talks about power of entry, search, seizure, arrest in offence relating to coca plant, opium and cannabis. Next, please. Next, please. Section 49 is an important one where power to search and stop the conveyance. Now, again, a very technically difficult to handle the section is section 50. Section 50 is where you want to search a person. Where a gazetted officer is there on the field above the rank of superintendent, he is imperative, he should be on the field. Where he is offering an offer, he is giving an offer to the accused, whether he wants to be searched by a gazetted officer or he wants to be searched by a magistrate. So now if the person says, I want to be searched by magistrate, I don't trust you, then he has to take him to the nearest magistrate in order to be searched. If he is okay, you search, I'm okay with that, you are a superintendent, you search, then that becomes easy. So this is a very strong, if it is not there in the Panchnama, if you have not given this option, if you have not mentioned this in the Panchnama, ignoring this section has led to many acquittals again. Section 50 of the NDPS Act. But the other day also I was discussing with Prakash ji, times it becomes very difficult for a law enforcement officer, just as a colleague. And by the way, I'm also a law graduate. The only thing is I don't have a sanan. So once if I tend to hang my boots, I will join you soon. But, coming back to the topic. So here, at times being on the field, we have, fought lot many gangsters who are coming from foreign origin like Nigerians. So they are extremely violent. The people who are indulged into all these things. Number one, because they themselves consume most of the time. So they don't know what is happening with them. They are not scared of the law enforcement. They're not scared of the police. They're not scared of the NCPD or whatever it is there. They don't know. So they directly attack the agencies basically. During the course of action, lot many my colleagues have been injured. Lot many casualties happen every day for the law enforcement agencies. So during that point of time, no doubt about it, this is the statute what we have to follow. But it becomes very difficult for its implementation. Can you imagine a Nigerian 6.5 feet standing in front of you? You have caught him, you are asking him, just tell me you want to be searched here or in front of the magistrate. Is it possible? We try to do that. Despite that, we try to do that. One anecdote I would like to share with you. One live operation happened in 2021. Name I cannot reveal because it might be trial might be going on. One Nigerian, a very strong built Nigerian, we had information regarding that person. He was a history sheeter. He was already arrested in one case by another agency. He had run, he had broken the bail, he had flung from the bail, he was on bail basically, and he had violated and he was just loitering around and again started entering into drug trade. So we had gotten an information of that man. So that man we apprehended, he was about to deliver to one person. And the modus operandi was, that man was keeping cocaine in his mouth. He had kept cocaine in the pellets, basically. So 20 pellets he could accommodate. That means 20 grams he was keeping in his mouth, intermediate quantity. So the time when we caught him, he started hitting the officers. Badly he started, whatever he could get, he was beating the officers. Fortunately, our officers were very well trained. They could overpower that man. And seeing that, deliberately he had kept in his mouth, because when he has threat, of course he has lot many threats. So when the law enforcement agencies caught that man, he swallowed it. So it becomes very difficult for us then. So तभी हमारे माइंड में होता है कि ये हम सेक्शंस वहां पर कैसे कर पाएंगे, but we have to do that. And after that, that man swallowed the 20 pills, these 20 capsules. Later on, the procedure for purging of eviction of that capsules also become very difficult. Every time you have to take that man to the hospital first. You have to do his X-ray in front with the magistrate permission. You have to take you have to take him to the hospital, X-ray. Then it is confirmed there are 20 pellets inside his body. Then how will you remove that pellets? So then you have to feed him, give him some bananas, give him isabgol, give him rice, and after that, at his own leisure, he will try to purge it. Purge, he has to go to the washroom. And every time, whenever he is purging, you have to make a panchanama. So just imagine the ordeal what law enforcement agencies goes through. People are very easy to criticize. Arey, ye aisa karta hai, ye waisa karta hai. But just imagine the ordeal. Every time you visit the washroom, in front of him, he will eject it. And after that, you make a panchanama. You wash it, then after that, you seal it. Every time you bring a doctor in front of him, you do that. So good, at least it is happening live. So the people who consume drugs should understand from where the drugs comes. So section 50 is the most, a difficult one to do that, but of course we have to do that. Now the officers are being trained to handle the situations, how to do that, and to comply with the section 50 of the NDPS Act. Next, please. Section 50A, again a very important one, which not many times people know about it, and not many enforcement agencies, they are doing it now. It has been envisaged by the framers basically. What happens is, when you know a drug is coming, when you get an intelligence a drug is coming, you catch that at the borders, say airport, courier, wherever. So merely catching that person is not end of the story. We have to finish the entire chain, right from the person who's sending it, right from the person who's bringing it, and right up till the end consumer, who's receiving it. So you need to complete the entire chain. So how to do it? Once you catch hold of drugs, the person who has sent it, he'll run away. The person who's receiving, he'll run away. So for that reason, section 50A is there. 50A capital, which means controlled delivery. So what happens is, you come to know there is a drugs. So what do? You take the permission of DGNCB. You write to DGNCB, whichever agency, customs catches it, police catches it, they write to DGNCB. Take a permission, we have done this, and in a controlled manner, we will push it across to the person, to the end user, so that we catch the end user also. So it's in a very controlled manner. So now the law has been amended, so it has been included like ADG of DRI also, ADG of police also. So this is a very important one within the country and outside the country also. Suppose if a drug is being caught at the export level, the drug is going to Singapore, for example. Methamphetamine consignment is going to Singapore. So the Indian airport, the Indian authorities, they catch it, they make a panchanama, they inform the DGNCB, they inform the seniors. And after that, the seniors inform the Singapore guys also, law enforcement agencies, that such kind of consignment is coming. kindly in a controlled manner, we need to catch the person who has called it. Then a controlled manner, it will go to the courier address and they will catch that person who has ordered for that. So this is called as controlled delivery. Very tedious, but we need to do that. So section 52. Section 52 is basically regarding the disposal of the drugs. So section 52A again, very tedious one, and on that ground also lot many people get bail. It's a disposal procedure. There are two kind of basically committees: high level drug disposal committee, low level drug disposal committee. Lot many agents, officers are the member of those committees. So now you need to remove the testing whenever you catch the drugs. So you need to remove the samples, basically sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. So it's a procedure basically. And after that, you need to take the samples, open the samples in front of the magistrate also, in order when you want to destroy the drugs, because a lot of pilferage used to happen, a lot of theft used to happen. So in order to destroy the drugs, section 52A is very imperative. So you need to test that in front, you need to remove the samples in front of the magistrate, and after that only you can destroy the drugs. So it's a very foolproof method basically, where as per the vigilance guidelines, you camera graph everything, you weigh the drugs, you check the seals, and after that incarcerators are there, you take them, you burn the drugs, you destroy them basically. So it's a very NDPS Act has 52A talks about it. NDPS rules are also there for these kind of destructions. Next please. Next. Next. Again, section 57. So while examination in chief, whenever in the court it's happening, so basically the officer sometimes at times हमारी परिस्थिति ऐसी होती है. Lot many cases I have booked in my career, So every time, most of the time, I'm on tour only. ये court में, वो court में, it happens like that. So for me being the supervisory officer or head of the office, so my permission used to be required for section as per the compliance of section 42, where you sign, you are the final authority for the officers to launch the operation, and sometimes section 57. So lot many times by the defense, you are being thoroughly grilled. कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है आरोपी मैं ही हूँ. The kind of tediousness, really it comes to your nerves at times. Then हमें जज बोलते शांत हो जाओ आप लोग ठीक है, we know that you are doing the job, but it happens like that. So again, section 57 is a very important compliance. If you don't do it, again, lot many acquittals and lot many bails happen because violation of this kind of section. So report of the arrest and seizure shall be made within 48 hours to the immediate superior officer. If a superintendent makes a seizure, they should report to the zonal director or the joint commissioner. Next, please. 58, section 58, please. Go back. So section 58 is a section where lot many planting cases happen. Lot many complaints happen, lot many planting case happens. So there, if any officer basically who does anything contrary to the NDPS Act, so there is an imprisonment and there is a penalty for such kind of activities. So any vexatious entry, vexatious search or seizure. So section 58 entails for that. Next, please. Next. 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 One section is being, I don't think so. It's, you can see here. One section is a very important section called as 64A. See, generally what happens is, whenever the NDPS Act is implemented, not many people, they have a misconception in their mind. Whenever I used to interact with school kids, college kids, and unfortunately being arrested for violating the NDPS Act. So, their first question was, Uncle, आप मुझे क्यों पकड़ रहे हो? मैं तो सिर्फ drug पी रहा हूँ. So they don't know that drug consumption is also crime. They don't know that. Lot many times people criticize us, so some kind of nefarious people or having malified intentions. So they criticize. कि आपको तो रखा गया है टन्स और टन ड्रग पकड़ने के लिए, आप ग्राम्स ड्रग्स पकड़ते हो. So my answer to those kind of people always is and was and will be कि जब NDPS Act is prohibiting even 0.1 gram, so why shouldn't I catch it? Let it be 1 ton, let it be 1,000 ton, let it be 1 small gram, I will do that. Who will do it if I don't do it? Now, if a mother is really harassed because his child is consuming drugs, so I won't find 1,000 kg with that mother and with that child. I'll find 1 gram. And with that 1 gram, I can reach up to the supplier. So I will book anything. If 1 gram is also there, I will book it because I'm getting salary for that. That is my job to do that. I'm not here to sit and sit on my chair and warm my chair and giving explanation. मैं तो बहुत बड़ा अधिकारी हूँ. मैं बहुत बड़े एजेंसी में हूँ, मैं बड़ा ही केस करूँगा. No, it doesn't happen. When the act is there, so be it 1 gram and be it 1 kg, every law will be applicable. So here, what happens is, when you catch a person, so these students and everybody, they tell, sir, मैं तो consume कर रहा हूँ, मैं बेच ही नहीं रहा हूँ. No, but it is a crime. And the law enforcement and the framers of the NDPS Act also, and the higher ups, basically what happens is, consumption of drug, they don't see that as a serious crime. We also don't see that as a serious criminal activity. Consumption means a person requires medical help. He's an ill person. He requires help, he requires medication, he requires reformation. So for that, 64A is there. So basically, in short, it entails like that. If you are caught with a small quantity, you need to follow the law, you need to face the law, whatever the procedure is, arrest, judicial custody, bail and all those things. And after that, you will be given an opportunity. So this is nowhere in any other act. Compoundable, it might be somewhere in civil and all those things. But here an opportunity is given to the person, to the drug addict, to come to the mainstream of life, to get rehabilitated after facing the law and come back to the mainstream of the society. So it's a very important act, 64A. Next, please. Next. This is a very important act, important chapter as well as section. So chapter 5A. See, what happens is, what we have seen, these kind of the drug peddlers, the law is made with a very good intent and very harsh, basically, and it is required also. But what happens is they try to find loopholes in the act. The other day I was discussing with Geetanar madam only. What happens is, whenever any person is caught with intermediate quantity or small quantity, he is entailed on bail. Whenever there is a basically division, if anybody is caught with small or intermediate quantity, you need to file a charge sheet within 60 days. Complaint within 60 days. So 60 days means 2 months. But similarly, if a person is caught with commercial quantity, you need to file a complaint or a charge sheet within a period of 180 days. 6 months. So what happens is, if a peddler or a supplier is caught with an intermediate quantity, he immediately comes out on bail within 2 months and starts his activities again. वही धंधा करना start करते. That becomes a very big problem for the law enforcement agency. So deliberately at times, these kind of peddler suppliers, they keep intermediate quantity with them because they know that 2 months may will come out. So here, there are two mechanisms basically, how to check that. It is a very tedious one. Officers need to do that. We have started doing that. So one is implementation of section 68A or chapter 5A, where you directly, there is a repeat offender, there is a drug peddler, the drug supplier who has a property. You identify his property and forfeit his property. And after that, let him go in the appellate and all those things. So that act is also very stringent. The law is also very stringent, where not even a peddler, but his entire family, his associate, his accomplices, so you can go ahead and freeze his property. So that is number one. That is a very good mechanism where you need to finish the person from the bud basically. If he comes out, doesn't matter, 60 days he'll go in the jail, eat out of the taxpayers' money, so it doesn't make any difference to them. So how to stop them, how to attack them, financial investigation is very imperative. So any commercial quantity, above commercial quantity, we try to go ahead with section 68A. There is another second mechanism which not many people don't discuss also and don't talk about it, is also PIT NDPS 1988. So does anybody know what is PIT NDPS 1988? See, PIT NDPS is the key for the solution, basically drug problems, what I believe. It is a preventive detention, just like MPDA and all those kind of detention, Makoka and MPDA, where a person, repeat offender, be it intermediate quantity, be it commercial quantity, he is taken into preventive custody. So there is a scrutiny committee. You launch a proposal, the agency launch a proposal by the scrutiny committee, before this screening committee. Screening committee after that decides the person is rightfully, brought before us for preventive detention. After that, the person is taken into custody. So there, after 3 months, there is an advisory body which is headed by the sitting justice of any of the high courts. 2 justices are there, and 1 retired member is there of the judiciary. So they decide again whether the advisory board, whether the detention is proper or not. Sometimes on the technical ground the person is left, sometimes it is confirmed. So you can keep a person behind bars for 1 year. So these kind of peddlers, hardcore smugglers. So even if they try to come out on bail, you can implement PIT NDPS on a person. So this is the need of the hour. The documentations are very tedious. It is time consuming, very technical, but it is worth if we want to protect the nation. So every time I tell the PP whenever I meet them, the officers whenever I meet them, I tell you need to make use of the act, of PIT NDPS to stop this nonsense. Next, please. Next. 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 So basically this is just a case studies what I had gotten. This is many agencies like Indian Army, BSF, they make regular seizures across Indo-Pak border. There are many tunnels, they throw across the fences. Then there are human mules. Then there are train, what I told you earlier also, which has been stopped now. So this you see on the Indian, borders, Indo-Pak border basically. Next, please. And all these kind of consignment consists of heroin, only heroin. Next. What we discussed, the Coast Guard regularly they make seizures of the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Many consignment of heroin along with weapons are also being caught. Next, please. Next. This you see on the Arabian Ocean side, where the packages are containing heroin. Next, please. Next. 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 So this is one consignment what you see in a liquid form. Next. The last portion which are the judgments. I won't bore you with the judgments more, already you're into that. But just 2-3 important one which I feel are very important for landmark kind of judgments as far as NDPS is concerned. So one is this Baldev Singh judgment, where the accused needs to be informed of his right. What we were discussing, the Nigerian needs to be told about his rights to be searched. If his kind gracious will permit us, then only we'll search him. So here the Honorable Supreme Court was gracious enough to understand that. But the accused informed of his right to be searched before the gazetted officer or magistrate and exercising his option. Empowered officer, however, failed to conduct his search before the gazetted officer or magistrate officer may not vitiate the trial. It may not vitiate the trial. We are thankful for the Honorable Judiciary to do this. But render his conviction unsustainable because of the inherent prejudice caused by this action, basically, by this omission. So this many again and again lot of Supreme Court judgments are coming on this topic regarding section 50. So this was one of the most important one. Next, please. Again, here, Karnail Singh judgment. Now here we are talking about section 42, search and seizure, requirement of writing down the information and sending it to superior officer. So as I told you, many acquittals happened for omission of this section of the NDPS Act. So this has made absolute. Section 42, if it is not in writing, it will vitiate all your activities. Next. Next, please. No, next. Next. Tufan Singh judgment. This is also a very important judgment. So here, basically section 67 of the NDPS Act. This is equivalent to section 181 of the 161 of the IPC, the earlier IPC, before BNS. So here the Tufan Singh judgment makes it very clear, any statement made before any officer implementing the NDPS Act, he is to be supposed to be a police officer. So any statement made will not be incriminating against him. Earlier, section 67 can be used as an evidence to prosecute him. But after Tufan Singh judgment, it has been made akin to section 161, and all the NDPS officers implementing NDPS Act are police officers. Fortunately, only one, if you might be practicing indirect taxes also, there is a section of section 108 of the Custom Act, where till today, any statement made before an officer under section 108 is a valid evidence, and that can be used against the accused. So thankfully that has not been diluted as of now, but section 67 of the NDPS Act after Tufan Singh judgment has been made similar to 161. Next, please. Next. Next. Hira Singh, if you can see. Next. No, next. This is one very important judgment. Hira Singh judgment. If you might be knowing, see, whenever any quantity is being assessed, commercial quantity, intermediate quantity or small quantity, generally what happens is pure quantity of, for example, any pure quantity of ganja, cocaine has been caught. So in that, what happens is when they sell it, when the peddlers sell it, so many times they kind of dilute that cocaine, pure form of cocaine, in order to generate more profit. We have seen Nigerians adding talcum powder in cocaine. So 10% of real cocaine, 90% of talcum powder. And the people consuming drugs, they also don't know anything. They're just merrymaking whatever they are doing with their lives. So the important thing arises, in the NDPS kit, whenever it is tested for positive, and then the defense came out with the thing, actually the chemical analysis report shows only 10% is, for example, proper raw form of cocaine, and other 90% are the mixtures or the neutral chemicals and all those things. So finally, but Hira Singh judgment overpowered everything, fortunately, and the entire mixture, basically whatever is being caught, so without the neutral material, without the any kind of mixing material, it will be taken as an NDPS item, the entire lot. So that is a very positive judgment against the drug lobby, basically. So this is a very important one what we take. So we don't care about the neutral element now. If it is an NDPS, if it is 10% also, 20% also, it is NDPS item, and we go ahead with the seizure of that. Right. So this is the final judgment what I thought to share with you. So any queries you have, I would like to answer any queries what you have then. I hope we have touched important points of NDPS, the problems what we face, the problems what we face during implementation or during raids, search and seizures. And you are very clear about the scenario what exactly we are facing with now. So any queries?
Yeah, we have a question and answer session for that, sir.
Yeah, of course we can start.
You can have a seat and answer, sir.
No, I'm comfortable.
Yes.
Firstly, I would request to give a huge round of applause for such an enriching session. The session was truly brilliant. Sir tried to explain us what is drugs, the statute part, and finally he concluded with the latest standings and judgments. So really it was an enriching sessions. Now we move on to the next section, that is Q&A session. So audience, any one of you have any questions, you can directly put it to sir and he'll answer it. Yes. We also have some questions, sir. We had given some link to the audiences. They had sent some questions, so we'll take that also.
So you did discuss the NDPS Act at length. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But in the Western society, there has been a policy change where drugs are being legalized. So do you see any slither of hope as to, because the solution seems quite ironic. So do you see any hope in legalizing drugs as a solution for the problem of
So your good name is
Girish Palav?
Girish.
Girish Palav.
Girish, I would very well like to answer your question. Not as an IRS officer, not as a government officer, but as Samir Wankhede personally. For me, any kind of legalization of this kind of scourge will not be in a very positive development for the nation. Number one. Number two, if you see the countries which have legalized such kind of things, which are the countries? Some European countries, some American states, one or two Southeast Asian countries. What is the population of those countries? Few million hundreds. What is the police law enforcement ratio to these kind of people?
Higher than India.
Very high. I mean, here the ratio is very vast. One poor police guy, one poor law enforcement person, how much he will handle that? You see, I mean, what might be the population of the Netherlands? Hardly 5 million, 6 million, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure about it. But might be 5, 6 million. So there it's very easy to be handled. What is the education quotient of those kind of countries? It's very high. We in our country see the issue of intoxication. We see the issues. You know, how the families are destroyed for intoxication, hooch, tragedies, liquor trade and all those. We see all those things, what is happening. So are we ready for kind of legalization of these kind of things? When 30% of our population are youth, and when we are in the transition of a developing country to a developed country, can we afford legalizing that? Absolutely no.
What is the reason? What is the ratio behind doing?
See, till today, what I have read as what you are reading, there is nothing which, you know, any near what we can see drug being legalized in the country. I don't think so. It's happening. But when it happens, you please let me know if it happens.
One interesting question or a topic we can call it as, what are the standing orders that are related to NDPS was asked to us. So can you answer, sir, about the standing orders?
There are a lot many standing orders.
88 and 89 specifically was mentioned. 1/88 and 1/89.
I need to check that. I mean, I've...
Okay. Another question.
That. There are a plethora of orders, you know. Daily, every month orders are coming. So I need to check those kind of orders.
Sir, notice under section 50 has been given in Marathi. Now the Nigerian accused says that I am not able to understand Marathi. Even I am not able to understand English. So at that time, what police officials are going to do?
Then English is a universal language. He cannot ignore that. So generally also, whenever Marathi, of course, he will not understand. Unless and until he is Marathaized, basically. But in English, we really try to give them an option. We try to show our iCard. We ask them, the panchas are there, we ask them in English. And if he doesn't understand also, we try to bring a translator. That also level we have done at the airport. If he doesn't, see, such kind of issues happen when a person is from South American country. He neither understands English, he neither understands Hindi, of course Marathi. So for that reason, what we do is we try to get hold of a translator and in front of him we try to do that. But we comply section 50 because we know section 50 is very important and acquittal will happen if you don't comply. And nowadays, with the CCTV all around, nowadays at the airport, at the streets, everywhere, so no law enforcement agency, no officer can tend to ignore that.
Sir, in one case of mine, the punch witness has been called from any other area. So it took him 2 hours to reach the spot of incident. So at that time, it is going to be beneficial for the accused or not? So because they are not able to find any punch witness on the spot
See,
where they are arrested.
See, it depends. It really depends. For example, you are fortunate 2 hours. Now, what if this seizure is happening on Indo-Pak border at Rajasthan, where there are, acre of land, there is no human being basically. So that time, what will happen? So for that reason, in NDPS cases, lot many in layman terms, lot many people don't understand. In NDPS cases, it is very hard to find panchas because the people dealing with NDPS are gangsters. They are into bodily offenses. They threaten the panchas. They exert pressure on panchas. So in NDPS cases, rarely you find any pancha. I remember myself, I had conducted a raid at Dongri. One of the persons of one underworld gangster whom I don't want to name, don't want to make him a hero to talk about him. So that underworld gangster, we took an action on that person. So the vicinity people, they were not ready to be a panchas. They know he's a gangster. Tomorrow he'll come out, he'll hit them. He will do bodily offenses. And he has been notoriously famous for doing those things. So nobody was coming as a pancha. So it's very difficult to appreciate such kind of things. Panchas, they don't turn up. So finally, then we have to convince pancha who are well-read, who are educated. As per section 100 also, we need to take them, we need to bring from the vicinity, from some other area. And after that, we have to do that. At times, it definitely creates problem for us and gives benefit to the accused. Very relevant question, which nobody understands basically.
Hello, my name is Gaurav Julia. Actually, I want to ask regarding international operations. There is one person named Zhao Wei. He controls Golden Triangle. So this Golden Triangle affects many countries in Asia. So why can't our country to tie up with other countries to catch hold this person? And my second question is, there is one drug known as xylazine, also known as a zombie drug. It is not very much found in India, but it is very much prevalent in US. But this drug has reached in India. So how people do easily accept this xylazine? It is mostly consumed in Punjab side. So it has not reached in many other areas. These are these questions.
See, first thing, the golden and the crescent has been renamed by the Honorable PM as the Death Triangle. Secondly, there are a lot many foreign operatives who are dealing with the Chinese guy you named. Similarly, there are a lot many Indians also who are sitting in foreign countries who are detrimental for the countries. There are some terrorists who are indulging into all these things, bringing the connotation what we spoke as narco-terrorism. What happens is, you all might be knowing there is a mechanism called as AMLAT or LR, Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty. So this is the basically treaty where you get in foreign criminals to the country. Or extradition, which is called as letter of rogatory, you might be knowing. So these kind of things are initiated at the courts, at the court level. From the courts, we need to issue an order when we need to get it. If you have an evidence about a foreign operative, we present the evidence in front of the courts. The courts issue the process of the LRs. After that only we give it to the other country. And then to satisfy them, the evidences, we all know what is happening. All the offenders, they go to some other country, they stay there, and there we fight in their courts. And we come to know, we cut a very sorry picture lot many times. We feel bad about it. So it's not like we are not doing it. Lot many agencies have been doing it. They're pressing very hard for issuing LRs and MLATs against these people. But lot many times we have seen the other side, the other people. They are not that, they are very, level of evidence is very different basically. They need to, for example, the Crown courts and all those other courts which are there. They need the highest level of evidence for their satisfaction basically. So I would not like to comment on them basically. They might be having their own standards, but it's not like we are not doing it. We are doing it. Lot many times red corner notices are being issued. Lot many times LOCs are being issued. But when judicial procedures are there, extradition procedures are there, they are very cumbersome and tedious, basically to satisfy the other countries. Xylazine, the zombie drug. See, zombie drug, fortunately, as of today, fortunately, it is not that prevalent in our subcontinent. America, along with fentanyl, this zombie drug is going viral, basically. But when it comes, when we make a seizure, when we make a huge quantity seizure or something like that, then the NDPS Act can be amended and this can be added. Basically, as of now, due to not many seizures being happening, it is not there in the NDPS Act.
So one small question. How does US pull out this? Like that Guzman, which is there from Mexico.
Al Chapo.
Yeah, Al Chapo Guzman. He was the operation was done.
He watches a lot of movies, let me tell you. But in a good sense. In a good sense. He knows. Yeah.
Further,
Then let him complete that. He's
How does the US exert its power that India cannot do such similar thing?
no, I mean, we also exert our power. I mean, where you find, we have done a lot many cases, we are catching them. Al Chapo, if you talk about Al Chapo's history, how many times he has done from the US prisons? So, हमारे यहाँ से कोई भागता है क्या? हमारे यहाँ से बेल लेके जाते हैं लोग. But he's I mean, jokes apart, he's a very tough guy. America, definitely they are after him. He again in the prison. They have done a lot many operations, international operations. And what I have read is they have done a lot of financial investigations, also seized all his properties also. We are also doing it. Yeah.
Namaskar, my name is Advocate Vishal Khetre. My question to you, sir, is government government held vicariously liable if an offender sells drugs in a public place? Can a government agency book, for example, a municipal corporation garden somewhere is being entrusted to some entity and it is indirectly or directly controlled by a government? And if a peddler sells drugs openly in that premises, can the government officials be held as an accused?
See, as I told you, there is a mental capability, mens rea, what we call in jurisprudence. So if the intention is there for anything nefarious, if there is any collusion, so there is section 58 and 59 of the NDPS Act to book officials also. So it's not like there is a differentiation between normal people and NDPS, government officials. If there is a liability, if there is a vicarious liability, what you seek, deliberately mens rea is there, intention is there, any monetary profit or knowledge is there, definitely they can be booked. Anybody can book.
So can it be booked under the dereliction of duty?
See, as I told you, section 58 and 59 is already there. That is dereliction of duty only. Anything which is contrary to the NDPS Act, section 59.
So one more question with regards to chapter 5A. Sir, can a private person like who is, I may directly call you as a true patriot, and who is interested in booking these people, can they make an application for confiscation of that property which is being obtained through selling narcotics? Is it possible for a private person to approach?
See, what you can do is a private person having a licit information. If you have a very valid information where you know the property is a Benami property, but it is a tangible information what you have given and it can be worked out. It can be linked to that person. So your information will be definitely used. And once the fact is established, it can be definitely.
I want to state that since this is a unit wherein you had worked, it's a special unit. Local police personnel do not have such in-depth knowledge, and I feel that this is a big lacuna, and due to that lapses, the provisions, even though they are stringent, accused take the favor and they get out. Sir, secondly, most of the people in Maharashtra also do not know about preventive detention in regards to NDPS. It has been started in Delhi, I believe. I have little practice of
I have done preventive detention, NDPS so many times.
No, but it's not more in Thane, so thank you. Yes.
See, I'll tell you regarding your good name is? Vishal. See, police, Mumbai police, if I talk what I know, they have a specialized cell, anti-narcotic cell, ANC they have. They're doing their best. Secondly, if we expect local police stations, see local police station, their basic job is law and order. We all know how they are stressed. We all know that on a very factual thing. Police public ratio is too much. So we can't expect them, to be very much in-depth knowledge having about this. Their priorities, other crimes also. For NDPS, there is agencies. There are agencies like NCB, DRI, anti-narcotic cell. So we can't expect the police station to be, more knowledgeable or more, complementing the efforts against the drug. But they are doing the job. I don't have any kind of regrets about it. They are doing a good job. What I read.
Puch. Good evening, sir. One.
Good evening, sir. My
Hi,
name
good
is Naresh Anurag. And I want to ask a question that what's your take on bhang, which is a part of marijuana plant, but it is not illegal. The flowering.
So you want to bring it in NDPS?
So how come due to religious reasons, its consumption has not been banned as the Holi has passed, and in some states it is legalized to consume, and some sarkari thekas also.
They say bhang. What bhang is not there in the NDPS Act. You rightly said. Ganja is there, but I don't know the rationale behind that. It has been framed before 1985. But if you see the chemical in ganja, THC, tetrahydrochloride, what we come to THC, cannabidol, you rightly said. So that is very much detrimental for the body basically. I don't know the composition of bhang because that is not in NDPS. I don't know the chemical what is there in the bhang. Probably for that reason, and if you see the suicidal tendencies, I have read couple of medical journals also regarding THC. So it is having more harm as far as suicidal tendencies are concerned. But I don't know something. I have not read anything regarding bhang.
Psychological aspect has yet to be read on that and researched. Basically,
Regarding bhang?
Regarding regarding THCs.
THC.
Right. So it has been said that during Rajiv Gandhi rule, it was at par with America. We have prohibited the weed, marijuana, and bhang has not, because it has also been mentioned in Rig Veda as the plant Vijaya, and for that purpose it has not been.
See, religious and political. Sorry, I cannot give any comment.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Sir, as for the presentation, it looks like there are stringent rules, laws, good offices. But despite that, we are not able to control the economy. So, according to your opinion, what are the key initiatives that we need to do? And also with your experience, can you tell us many countries who are able to do a good job and then
your question is very good basically. What happens is every time I enunciate one thing very clearly, law enforcement is one part where the agencies, they implement NDPS Act, they book cases, they make seizures, arrest people and do all those judicial proceedings. The second part is very important, which is 10 little low, which is the awareness part. One of my friends said about awareness from Thane. He just spoke about it's not there. So what I believe is law implementation plus awareness. This cannot go in isolation. This needs to go hand in hand. Then only we can fight this. Complete law implementation will not even either help. Unless and until people don't know what is right and what is wrong, what kind of drug is there, how will you do that? So for that reason, awareness is required. No amount of awareness you do and no implementation, that won't either work. So it is a very holistic thing, both should go hand in hand, which we also try to do. So our, being in agency, it's not a pleasant job. Basically what happens is when you book cases on youngsters, they are 24 years, 25 years. The age group is from 16 to 25, most of them who are being caught. Some are there in colleges, some are just starting their careers. So it is very unpleasant for us to book cases on them, on legal implications are there on them. So how to stop that? For that reason, we start awareness drive. Go to the schools, go to the colleges, tell them the problems, tell them the acts, tell them that consumption is also a crime. If you try to do this, 20 years you can go inside. fine penalty will be there, your career will be spoiled. And the most important thing, what I believe is the parents and the society. What happens is when any person is a drug addict, he's addicted to such some kind of drug activity. So the parents tend to hide it. They think it's a taboo. Bring it out, people will laugh, people will talk or something like that. They should not do it. They should bring out. Rather than accepting it, rather than tolerating it, bring it out and fight it, what I believe. So more and more people should come out, more and more people should report regarding this also and take the children to rehab centers. Not many rehab centers are there as per the capacity of the person. Free rehab centers are there, paying rehab centers also there. So this is the third point. The fourth point, what I believe is, more and more people should come out and report this kind of activities. They do not do it. What happens is, many times, as we find difficulty in getting panchas, similarly, nobody comes out and report the real issue. They tell, if we come and give you a report, we make a complaint to you, these people will come to us and they will, kill us or harm us, bodily harm us or whatever is there. So they don't come and report. So that is the most important thing. After that also, there are many mechanisms by the government also. There are, anonymous complaints definitely keeping a identity. There is a whistleblower act. We all know PDP is there. We all know about it. After that, you can keep your, identity discreet. You can mail the information. If it is relevant, it can be booked. There is a helpline also issued by the MHA regarding reporting drug-related activities. So citizens' help is also definitely required apart with law enforcement and implementation.
Yes, ask.
Hello sir, I'm Jaina. I have one question. My question is that I have heard that your khaskhas is that's a part of your opium plant, poppy seeds. Yes. So how come opium is illegal and khaskhas is legal? Because in Bengali and Odia
it is it is a culinary preparation also.
Yes, yes. So is it possible for somebody if he or she is farming that plant secretly and nobody knows about it, or how is it?
See, poppy plant, it is as far as the act is concerned, it is not under the NDPS Act, the khaskhas, the seed what you are talking about. But there are restrictions as far as this is concerned, import of those goods as concerned. In Custom Act, there is a restriction regarding khaskhas and poppy basically. So that is being taken, but it is not included in the NDPS Act, probably due to the chemical composition of that. So now bringing that item also, which is a culinary thing that the government has to decide about.
Opium is illegal.
Of course, that is under NDPS Act only. Opium,
exactly.
is definitely.
Khaskhas is some part of that.
See, that is a ball basically. It is a coagulated juice of that opium plant. The opium fruit, what we call is as charas. So they do an incision, and after that, whatever the coagulated juice comes out, so that becomes the proper form of opium, afim, what we call as. So the seed is different, but.
Okay, thank you, sir.
There was one question, sir. What is exactly a conscious possession?
Conscious possession is somebody is asking me a deliberate question out here. Remembering me of a 2021 case.
It might be.
Probably. This is a criminal conspiracy, what I can sense. See, conscious possession, I will answer that. I don't run away with any questions.
Yes.
I answer that. Conscious possession is generally knowledge of a possession basically. Not necessarily it happens with the person, but a person accompanying that person is in the knowledge of that drug, in the knowledge, again, mental state, mens rea. So that becomes conscious possession, and that is also an offense under the NDPS Act.
सर नमस्कार,
धन्यवाद.
मी ॲडव्होकेट ऋतिक डोईफोडे. आता हे सगळे माझे मित्र सगळे ड्रग त्याच्यावर भरपूर काही बोलले. सर्वात डोक्यात हा पहिला प्रश्न येतो की 2021 चा जो इश्यू झाला त्यानंतर आम्हाला वानखडे सर का दिसले, त्याच्या अगोदर आम्हाला का नाही दिसले की वानखडे सर एवढं जीव लावून देशासाठी करतात आहे किंवा एवढ्या सगळ्या गोष्टी विरोध भांडतात आहे, त्यामुळे त्याच्यानंतर का दिसलं, त्याच्या अगोदर का ना आम्हाला मीडियाने दाखवलं की समीर सर असं पण या लेवलला जाऊन एवढं मेहनत करतात आहे देशासाठी. कारण सर स्वातंत्र्यवीर सावरकरांचं खूप छान वाक्य आहे की देहापासून देवाकडे जाताना मध्ये देश लागतो आणि आपण देशाचा काहीतरी देणं लागतो. मला असं वाटतं की तुम्हाला बघून मला 100% दिसतं. तुम्ही खूप सुंदररित्या करता त्यांची तुम्ही देशाचं एवढं देण करताय. कारण सावरकर म्हणायचं जर हा देश आपल्याला टिकवायचा आहे, हिंदुस्थान हा आपल्याला टिकवायचं, तर आपल्याला या देशाचे जे यंगस्टर्स आहेत त्यांना घेऊनच आपल्याला देशात चालवावं लागणार. नाही तर जर उद्या ही फळी पडली तर हा देश कधीच संपून जाईल. परकीय आक्रमण अशाच प्रकारे आपल्या देशावर येत राहतील आणि आपण कधीच संपून जाऊ. मला तुम्हाला हे विचारायचं की त्याच्या अगोदर आम्हाला सर तुम्ही काय दिसला.
युअर गुड नेम इज
ऋतिक नवीफोडे सर.
ऋतिक. अरे ऋतिक, दिस इज नॉट माय फॉल्ट बॉस. मी हे बघा, आय एम अ सॅलरीड एम्प्लॉई. ठीक आहे. वी डोंट वर्क फॉर पब्लिसिटी, वी डोंट वर्क फॉर मीडिया, वी डोंट वर्क फॉर पब्लिसिटी की मला हे पेपरमध्ये नाव येणार, हे माझा फोटो. अजिबात आम्ही कधी काम करत नव्हतं. I worked in intelligence agencies, IB where secret is there. I worked in NIA, there also I was working in intelligence and operations where secrecy is maintained. आता NCB मध्ये I got a good opportunity to come and meet the people, to go to the slums, to fight these gangsters, you know, hand to hand and on the ground level. So I was very fortunate to do that. आणि त्यामध्ये आता मीडिया सारखे म्हणजे 2-3 छोटे छोटे केसेस झालेत माझ्या आयुष्यात. त्यामध्ये मीडियाने ते कॅरी केलेले आहे. दॅट इज नॉट माय मिस्टेक.
2011 पासून सगळे अवॉर्ड्स मिळालेले आहे. त्यांचं इंट्रोडक्शन खूप मोठं आहे. आपण त्यांना ऐकायचं म्हणून ते थोडं कमी सांगितलं. पण जे 21च्या 10 वर्ष आधी इतके मोठे अवॉर्ड्स मिळाले ते आपण ते समजावून पुन्हा एकदा बोलू.
थँक्यू.
There were some questions regarding sections, so I'll collectively ask those questions. There's a linkage between section 42, 53 and 67. Is there? I'm not aware about section 42 and 53. The linkages should be explained. The importance of section 37 and the difference, that means the division of small, intermediate and commercial quantity. What is the impact? Why it is divided so?
See, for the first portion I would like to say is section 41, 42 and 43. It all is regarding the powers of search, seizures and arrest. So this is definitely in connection with section 67 also, because before conducting any kind of arrest also, as per section 41 and 43, so section 67 is imperative. There should be a confession also, which is corroborated with other facts. So these acts are definitely linked. Section 41, 42, 43 as well as 67. See, let us be very clear is 41, 42, 43 is regarding procedures, what is to be done. And 67 is regarding the investigation also, the statements and the follow-up operations also, and after that. So it is linked, but not majorly linked what the framer of the question might be thinking about it. But yes, it is complementing each other. The other part of your query is regarding this the gradations, small, intermediate and commercial. So that also I covered earlier. There is a every time new drugs are being added to the schedule list as per the drug consumption. Methadone was added in 2014. Fentanyl is added now. Tramadol has been recently added because of the usage is more. So that has been increasing. Similarly, the gradations are also basically amended time to time as per the need. So now what we discussed earlier also, 3 types: intermediate, small, intermediate and commercial. The offenses, the punishment is as per the gradations. Different drugs as per the list are also having different grades basically. Ganja is having different threshold for commercial, LSD is having different threshold, methamphetamine, methaqualone, charas, ganja fim, all different drugs have different thresholds for commercial quantity.
So basically the punishment differs as the quantity changes.
Absolutely, you are right.
Okay.
Commercial quantity, I will tell you. Commercial quantity, the maximum punishment is 20 years and fine of 2 lakh rupees. Intermediate quantity, the punishment is 10 years of imprisonment plus 1 lakh rupees of fine. Small quantity maximum punishment is 1 year and 10,000.
Hello sir, my name is Raju. As you mentioned previously that when the supplier is being caught, their property is supposed to be sealed and obviously the associates. But they can do some kind of things, just like take the property in another person's name or something like that. That would not make them any less to stop that activity. And even you set the intermediate level of the drugs if they are carrying, they will get out in 2 months. So they still have an escape. So that is not making them any less to stop. So they will still have the courage. So do you think that is an actual remedy so that they will stop doing
No,
that?
absolutely. See, if if you seize the currencies, you freeze the bank accounts which they have, generated the money. Then you seize the property, you freeze the accounts, you seize the properties also. Then accomplice also. Section 68A is talking about accomplice also. Not necessary if a drug peddler is there. A drug peddler is caught. The person, some cash transactions happen, some wire happens basically, and after that the person is taking property in some other's name. If there is any kind of evidence is also, electronic evidence, digital evidence, that property can also be seized. So 68A is a very, very huge, it has a very huge kind of arena to, book these kind of things. We have seen that, we have done that, in some cases 8 to 9 crore rupees of, properties have been seized, and that is a very big deterrence basically for these kind of things. And one thing was just going on in my mind. I don't know, somebody asked me, they didn't ask me this question, but I would like to clarify by myself. See, what happens is, lot many people, ask you a question. Arey sir, iske paas to drugs mila nahi to ye arrest kyun nahi hua? This is the kind of question, layman question basically. I was surprised. My colleagues, who are IRS officers, some are well-read, they asked me about one case. Arey sir, wo drugs person pe mila nahi to arrest kaisa kiya? So it is, you are lawyers, you would appreciate what we are talking here. See, there is for example, there is a crime of drug crime which has happened. You have intercepted one person with a drug. That person is having 5 grams with him. Okay. Now, there is somebody who has manufactured that drug. There is somebody who has supplied that person a drug. There is somebody, this 5 gram of charas will go to that person. There is somebody who is a receiver. So does that mean NDPS Act means I need to catch only him? What about these other people? So not necessary every time any arrest happens in NDPS where drug is not required. There are conscious possession again. The question here comes in. So not necessary that you need to have drugs on your person, then only you will be arrested. Manufacturer, supplier, these peddler as well as the consumer. So there is a chain which needs to be taken care of. Thank you.
So after seeing this lecture on YouTube, one of my friends asked one question. There is a procedure. Prior doing raid on specific vicinity, you would have to inform local police station as per the protocol. But sometimes, if the trader is having a very good relation with the officers of local police station, so at that time he is going to inform. So how agency is that?
See, what basically it is a protocol. It is not in the act. There is in the act. It is nowhere written in the act. That is not a precondition basically. Lot many times, lot many operations, most of the operations what we have done is, not informing anybody, conducting a recce, securing the premises and after that acting that. So it is not a precondition in any act. You have to inform them and after that only you can do it. Lot many times it happened, once you conduct a search, you seize the article and after that post facto you can inform the local police also. So it's not compulsory to do that. In some cases it might have happened, but generally I never agreed for that. Yes, please.
Good evening, sir.
On,
name is
Karan.
Shweta, and my question is,
On.
how can technology improve NDPS investigation?
Very, very good question. Very good question. See, technology, nowadays if you see, not many social network sites, not many platforms like Telegram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Insta, and after that DM messages, lot many things are coming in, which are becoming very challenging for the law enforcement agencies. For that reason, at times, information is dried up, basically. 3Ma1 app is there, timing apps are there, where there are no servers, it becomes very difficult for the law enforcement agencies. It is difficult, but similarly, there is a thing called as human int also. human information, which is always very reliable. There are two forms of intelligence, what we all know, layman term, human int and tech int. Technological intelligence and human intelligence. As far as traditional school, I also come from a very traditional school. In my career, I might have booked around 3,500 cases, caught around 17 tons of drugs. So here, most of my cases were based on human information. Technical, yes, of course, it is complementary and it supports, it complements your efforts, but we cannot completely rely on this. You need to be having the traditional human int also. And it is a challenge, yes, I agree with this, but many things are happening which cannot be discussed on the open platform regarding the technological things what we do. There are some, Indian Telegraph Act is also, there are many things are there which cannot be discussed.
हॅलो सर.
Hi.
जेव्हा तुम्ही ड्रग्स किंवा गांजा पकडतात ते डिस्पोज ऑफ कसं केलं जातं?
Ah, very good question. It doesn't go to anybody, don't worry. Not many people ask me, sir, वो कहाँ जाता है? It's not sold, don't worry about it. See, there is again, we talk about the act, there is a section called as 52A, which calls about disposal. So once initially when you book a case, samples are being taken as per the NDPS Act. So that sample is sent to the lab, CRCL lab, FSL lab, forensic lab and all those things, so for results. But what is to be done with the huge quantity of drugs? We don't want to keep it because rats will eat it, somebody will steal it. There are cases where, people sell it and vigilance cases are being booked. So the best thing the lawmakers thought, okay, let us dispose these things. So what happens is again 52A, which again sampling happens in front of the magistrate. The magistrate opens the, he checks the seal, the samples, the weighment and all those things. And after that, there is a drug disposal committee. High level and low level. So there are limits of drugs specified which will go under high level drug disposal committee. There are limits which will specify which will go to the low level drug committee. Low level drug committee, basically they have SPs of a district, deputy commissioner rank officers or something. High level has an IG, has a zonal director or joint commissioner or additional commissioner rank officer. So they are the members basically. Their job is initially they will have a meeting, pre-disposal meeting what we call it. So basically their job is to go to the premises where the drug is stored, weight it in front of them, check the seals, whether it is tampered or no. And after that pass a report. Everything checked and everything is videographed. After that they decide a specified date. And that date should not be around, it should be more than 15 days. Within 15 days it should happen. So in the anywhere between 15 days, they decide a date where you need to take the drugs from the malkhana or the warehouse, and after that take to the incarcerator, where it is basically completely burned. Okay, so that in front of, with the security on the specified date, as per the vigilance guidelines, with the CCTV, with the cameras and everything, with armed guard, they take it to the incarcerator. So it is based out of Taloja in Mumbai, if you talk about. So these incarcerators are basically approved by the Pollution Control Board. So there again the team assembles, videograph, they again check the seal, they again weigh it properly, it is as per the pre-disposal meeting and as per the Panchnama, and after in front of witnesses, they throw it in the fire, basically the incarcerator, and it completely is destroyed. So it doesn't go anywhere, don't worry.
Basically this question came because in other criminal trials, generally the muddemal, we call it muddemal, after it is recovered from the FSL, it is sent to the courts and it is preserved. But in NDPS cases, after the 52-8, it is disposed of and the documents are considered as primary evidences.
Absolutely.
And the entire trial goes as a primary evidences is without keeping the exact. Yes.
Muddemal. Only on the FSL report, basically the chemical
so the
analysis.
FSL report itself is a primary evidence now, and the trial commences on that.
True. Very true.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
My name is Sudhir Gupta. My question is, as per my understanding, the ultimate purpose of NDPS Act, one of the ultimate purpose of NDPS Act to prohibit people from restrain people from consumption of intoxicating substance. On other hand, government himself granted a license or tender to sell the liquor and tobacco. So it is also an intoxicating substance. So how it can be justifiable if on one side government is restraining and on second hand is allowed to sell the liquor and
Your good name is?
Sudhir Gupta.
Sudhir.
And sir, my second question. What changes legislation have to do for the better implementation of the NDPS Act? And third question is, We have,
I need to take a special lecture for you.
we have seen in the movies like sometimes authority have to test the drugs for the identification. It is confirmed or it is drugs or not. So you have ever tried for it?
So, yes, your first part. See, again, I'm a law enforcement officer. I implement law. I cannot comment on the, making and formulation of the policy. That the legislative, they do it. I'm a very small officer in protocol. But as a normal citizen, what I believe, see, drug, as stated, it is a very, in all religions also. You talk about, now I'm coming in the awareness mode. You talk about our religion also, it is prohibited. Basically, intoxication is prohibited. Secondly, revenue generation is another issue. Thirdly, the seriousness of the item what we are talking. Now, for example, I talk about mephedrone, what I spoke with you earlier. While interacting with people, they tell us कि सर जब हम ये MD लेते हैं तो 3 दिन हमें पता ही नहीं होता क्या होता है. We don't know who our mother is, we don't know who our sister